This is TNA, the new face of professional wrestling.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Feast or Fired. I am Brian with my wife.
Hello, it's Melanie.
And for us, it's been like 2 months since we last recorded, unfortunately, because of technical issues. But when we last recorded, I have to say it was a recording done before the passing of
Don West.
Don West. So, our condolences. I know it was a little while ago that Don West passed away now from when we're recording now. It just, as things worked out. But I tried putting a little note under the last video notating the fact that we hadn't, at the time we were talking about Don West, and I know we talked about Don West in the video, and I think I said, he's still alive, but by the time the video actually came out, he wasn't, so
sorry if we gave you guys false hope.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. Rest in peace, Don West. You are,
Having heart attacks in
No.
heaven.
I mean, he died from cancer, I think, but, anyways, let's get into the show. January 15th, 2002. We're obviously a little behind, especially considering it was like yesterday was the anniversary of Mr. Perfect passing.
2003?
Yes, 2003. I have it written as 2002 here.
Honey, I don't think we're going back in time.
Don't think we are. Well, yes, we are.
Okay, let me rephrase that. The show started June of 2002.
I know. We've been doing this chronologically. Okay, January 15th, 2003. 2003. Okay, let's do this. Starting off the show, we have a sit-down interview between Russo and Mike TNA. Russo tells us his job as a writer to make sure many people watch as possible, no matter how he does it. He also believes that the writer is one of the biggest contributors to what makes wrestling successful. He also said that WCW was on the air for years, but he was only in it in 9 months, and think it's ridiculous the idea that he killed it in that short period of time. TNA thinks WCW at the point that Russo joined was salvageable and doesn't think Russo helped whatsoever. They get into a bunch of stupid things that happen in WCW, cruiserweights, David Arquette. Russo says basically he wants it so that, wrestling has a future that like his children have the ability to come and work in the wrestling business as well. That it needs to be kept alive by changing it. Considering where we are now 20 years later, I don't think wrestling is in any dire straits, so I guess you could argue to some degree Russo succeeded. I don't know how much he played a role in that, but here we are.
Made it dumber.
In some ways, yes.
Sorry.
In some ways, he made it more exciting, but we'll cover all that. All right, back to live taped event in the ring. It's hard because they pre-tape the pay-per-views, so they're not live, but then your not live program has also things that are pre-taped for the audience, so the audiences are seeing things that are pre-taped while they're being taped.
I am also going to say this, honey. This is 20 years ago.
I understand, but we could still be watching a program from 20 years ago that aired live, not pre-taped.
All right, fair enough.
Like we watched a live pay-per-view event from WWE from 20 years ago. They were still live. The things that happened in real time for the most part. They might be airing on a slight tape delay. But...
Well, yeah, you can't really blame that on them, though.
Russo and Sex enter the ring. Sports Entertainment Extreme.
I thought you weren't going to ever call them Sex.
I'm doing it for a specific reason.
Oh, okay.
They now have shirts specifically for their group. I say, okay, totally not the NWO. Doesn't look exactly the same, obviously. It's a different font, but it's the same idea. They're wearing colors with their letters on it. You know? Russo brought an actual soapbox to the ring with soapbox written on it to stand on. He doesn't really stand on it, though. I have a feeling it was actually made out of cardboard.
Oh, that would have been hilarious watching him fall through that.
No, because it leads to something else, so he needed it to be attacked.
I'm just saying it would have been funny. Let me have that.
So he claims they are not the NWO and that they are not thugs. They are there to educate people about sports entertainment.
Thug-like.
So he puts out a call to join him or shut up. Now Percy Pringle comes out. He says the fat man is ready to talk. And, that's what Pringle said, not me. He says he's known Russo longer than most anyone else in the business. And he also says that maybe he doesn't have room to talk because but Pringle's been part of some of the best entertainment in wrestling there's ever been. He says Russo might be right, that wrestling, as he knows it, could be dead. And he offers his hand to Russo. So it looks like he's willing to be on Russo's side here. Russo then proceeds to insult Percy Pringle, claiming he stabbed him in the back before. And then he has his cronies attack him, and they break the soapbox over his head.
The non-thugs.
Yeah. This results in Percival Pringle bleeding, and I don't know if I've ever seen him bleed before, so that was interesting. He was bleeding quite a bit, too. Thankfully, he's a large man, so he has a lot of blood to give. Surprises of all surprises, of everyone that tries to come out to save Percy Pringle here, Jorge Estrada, alone, in his Elvis outfit. But there are too many for him to fight off. Triple X puts Estrada through a table, and then before then, Jarrett and security, Jarrett's wielding a chair, manages to come out and chase Sports Entertainment Extreme away. I took note here that I said Pringle did nearly as bad of a blade job as Eddie did in his infamous segment with JBL. There was a lot of blood coming from his forehead. One of the steel steps was covered in it. It was weird. But yeah, there's our opening live segment, I guess. I get a strange feeling we're gonna get a lot of this for a while. What do you think?
Percy Pringle.
No. Opening with Russo and Sports Entertainment Extreme being assholes.
Oh yeah, like I said, they're not thugs. They're just thug-like.
Instead of opening with a match or something, we'll get segments like this.
Yeah, and I will continue to get annoyed. I don't like Russo that much.
It's hard to. Match number 1 of the night. Tag Team Championship match. Divine Storm versus our 2-time Tag Team Champions, America's Most Wanted. It's kind of a rematch from a few weeks back, where Divine Storm handed them their second, I would say second loss. Yeah, I think it was their second technical loss. Actually, they've lost multiple times against the New Church before they got their belts back. But this is a second loss to anyone, but this is their only other loss to anyone besides the New Church.
True.
And it was because of Trinity's interference and stuff like that. So, kind of a rematch, but we had a new little spin on it because this time it's for the tag titles, whereas last time neither team was champions. So, all right. Divine Storm jumps them to get things started. This time the belts are on the line, so they have even more motivation to beat AMW. Harris gets control early, getting him out of the ring and throwing James Storm onto them. They maintain control until Trinity gets involved, grabbing James Storm by the foot to distract him. James Storm. I notice. I just has a note here. James Storm on one knee is the same height as Chris Divine.
Sorry.
Who is the taller of the two in Quiet Storm or Divine Storm? Quiet Storm's the other guy, and he's shorter than Divine. We get Trinity doing a Hurricanrana on a James Storm to the outside, while Quiet gets beat up in the ring, or beat up on the ring steps by Chris Harris. Even then, getting back in the ring, Quiet has control, hitting a tornado DDT on James for a near fall. We get a double tag after double down, and Harris has control of this match. A&W gets thrown out of the ring and gets dived on 3 times by the 3 members of the other team, including Trinity. Eventually, James Storm, getting double teamed in the ring, he manages to throw Chris Devine out of the ring and then catches Quiet from a from a corner move, putting him into the death sentence to get the win and retain the belts.
Yay!
It was an overall fine match. We rewatched the show, but I wasn't looking at my notes while we did it. But like, we watched the show and took notes almost 2 months ago. So reading these notes and having only just watched the show without looking at my notes, like, there's still a bit of a disconnect for me. So this might not be the most quality reading of my notes.
We apologize.
We get Styles in the ring with a mic after a video package about how he's after the World Championship.
Pumping the air, 5,000.
Says the question is, who is Styles with? He's not with Mortimer Plumtree. He's not with Sports Entertainment Extreme. He's his own man and does whatever he wants. And he wants a world title match. But truth interrupts.
Every time he opened his mouth at that point, I was just hearing Cartman. Shut up, I do what I want. Sorry, but I don't do a good Cartman at all.
Truth comes out, so Styles needs to get in line behind him because, you know, Truth basically feels like he got screwed out of his belt in both matches. Which is fair. This leads to AJ Styles versus Ron the Truth Killings.
You know, the suntan Superman.
It's just a name that rhymes. That's what he's going for.
Totally could have done any other superhero.
Okay, Truth has immediate control of Styles. Arm drags and drops, kicks him out of the ring. Styles tries to slip in while Truth comes out, but Truth turns this into a sunset pin attempt. Styles turns things around eventually with a kick to the gut, and his hits the head scissors takeover from his back. You know that thing where he is laying down, and Styles kicks his legs up, wraps his ankles around his throat, and twists to throw him.
Yeah.
One of those moves that's like only AJ Styles does. It's super athletic and awesome. I don't think he does it anymore, but like back then, that was so cool to see.
Well, honey, he's like 20 years older, so...
No shit!
I don't know how old he is at this point.
Like 20.
So he's like in his 40s. Like, I want to see you doing something from 20 years ago.
Well, 20 years ago, I was just as fat, so...
Yeah, I can honestly tell you I am not doing things that I did when I was 20 years ago.
So I probably could do about the same.
I can't. Be able to crouch and run and stuff, but now I can't because I'm...
Ron is on the end of a lot of striking, but manages to hit a facebuster for a near fall, but isn't able to recover before Styles for some reason, who returns to striking and puts Ron into a headlock. Truth eventually fights out, but gets slammed to the mat by a hair pull. Styles then complains about getting hit in the nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Very loudly and verbally.
It may not have been planned.
I don't know. He's just complaining about his nuts. Reminds me of that time that Nia Jax complained about her hole.
I don't know who that is.
I should have that soundbite someday. Just, my hole! Anyways. Truth is failing to gain any momentum against Styles now, only managing to hit pin attempts before Styles turns things around. Styles does a leg lock and bridges it to hold Ron's face as well. One of those double submission moves where he gets extra things where he does this like bend over backwards bridge thing.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
It's alright.
Ron does finally turn things around with a headbutt to Styles' sternum. Or nuts. No idea.
He didn't complain about the nuts again, so...
So, I don't know. Discus clothesline from Styles gets caught. Truth tries for a spinning back suplex, but Styles lands on top of him, both down. Ron does get some momentum back, getting his flying forearms before going to the top rope, but he gets caught. Styles attempts a superplex. After a bit of a struggle in the corner, Truth manages to drop Styles in his face and go for a pin. Then Plumtree comes out. This has to be one of the last times we see him because I know he gets written off entirely.
All I know is you
soon.
told me last time, like the week before, that we were never going to see him again, and now you're a liar.
I thought the beginning of January marked the last time we were ever going to see him. I know Russo didn't like him. I know Russo wrote him off screen. I'm just going based off of information that I sort of know. Anyways. Plumtree distracts a ref while David Flair shows up with his burlap sack again with something in it and hits Truth with it. Then lays Truth across Styles across Truth, allowing Styles to get the victory. So, congrats to Styles, I guess.
Kind of a cheap way of winning, but okay.
Mm-hmm. We go to the back with Goldilocks and with the Road Warriors and Jeff Jarrett. Jarrett says that Styles is talented but not ready for the world title. Animal runs down Jarrett and Styles, and Goldie is dodging his shoulder pads and spit. It was just weird because, like, you know, Legion of Doom wore these like football pads that had spikes on the shoulders, and those spikes are like right at the level to poke her right in the eye. So she's like leaning back every time he moves, trying not to lose an eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mike gets packs to Hawk, who says sex is done, but he's just referring to the Vince Russo shit, not actual sex.
Thank God for that.
We go back to the ring where Styles grabs the mic, demanding TNA give him a title match, and then says he will not be leaving the ring until he gets one, putting a chair in there to sit down and wait. At this point, the living legend Larry Zbyszko appears, because that's what we need, more old guys. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Says the biggest fool of all is the man who fools himself. And ladies and gentlemen, we give you AJ Styles. Calls Russo a cancer, and it says that Styles is brainwashed by Russo's bullshit. This whole time, you won't get Styles Styles get in the word whatsoever, with Zbyszko continually like suggesting the idea that Styles is with Russo, even though Styles is trying his hardest to be like, but I'm not. You know?
Honestly, at this point, I would not be surprised if Stylist was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to Russo.
Either way, Zbyszko says he needs to find his soul and not follow Russo. So Styles just like getting fed up with it says, how about I beat up Larry Zbyszko and you know, make my mark that way or something like that. And then he slaps him and they get pulled apart. All right, next is a knockouts bout. Before the knockouts division existed. We get Desire, or Miss Sex, whatever you wish to call her, versus April Hunter, who we have not seen in weeks. And the last time we saw her, she lost to Bruce.
Sorry, thinking.
No, Alan Funk. The guy who was pretending to be a gay guy. Who's now not a gay guy.
Could be bi.
Well, now he's just Alan Funk. What do you want me to say?
Nothing much.
I mean, they dropped the whole Miss TNA thing, so. The first thing I have note here says, oh my god, April's music just says girls in a weird tone repeatedly. Her music was terrible. April gets knocked down on her way to the ring, and Athena plays interference to keep Siaki away from her. I don't know how that works. In the ring, they start trading chops and some weak moves back and forth. Hurricanrana, drop kick, enziguri. Neither of them deliver these moves very well. Siaki stops April from going to the top. Desire tries to do a jump up to do a move and just slips off entirely. She goes back, climbs up this time. And then does a Frankensteiner for the win. It was a very short, very shitty match. Neither of these women were good.
I think I have a sentence written on them.
After the match, Desire attacks April. Then Athena attacks Desire. Before seeking help, Siaki dumps April out of the ring and then plays the cheerleader for Desire, just watching these two go at it. Athena eventually gets her shirt torn off. Seems Desire is trying to strip her for some reason. I have no idea why. Things get awkward as she spends a good minute and a half, 2 minutes, trying to take off Athena's pants and not succeeding until the music starts playing to tell him to get the fuck out of the ring.
And then Egomaniac is like, yo, we gotta go. Like he almost carries Desire out.
I feel like everything about this whole match and this segment was botched. On top of them just not being good to begin with.
It was painful. I feel bad for every woman wrestler out there right now.
No, we get some really, really good female wrestlers later when the Knockouts division gets going. We get Gail Kim, Awesome Kong, others.
Oh my god.
ODB. ODB ain't bad. It stands for One Dirty Bitch.
Oh, okay.
You were wondering, weren't you?
Not particularly. I was like,
oh.
Okay.
Yeah, no, she just goes by ODB so they don't have to say One Dirty Bitch every time they refer to her.
Makes sense.
We go to a Goldie again, and there is a car pulling up. She thinks it's Dusty Rhodes, even though we could, from a mile away, clearly see it wasn't him. And then when the door opens, she's like, Mr. Wrestling, and apparently we have Mr. Wrestling 4 showing up. Another mask guy. This is the third time they've done this so far. Random mask dude under a mask for no reason.
It's old.
It is old already. I don't know why they're doing the mask thing so much. We've had Mr. Wrestling 3, Mr. Wrestling 4, and the fake bullet. What's funny is that now all of them have ended up being in Sports Entertainment Extreme in the end. Is that weird?
Little.
Mike Sanders comes to the ring. He's here just to support Russo and everything Russo stands for. I'd say I didn't care about most of what he says. Jerry Lynn comes out, does his talking, and says he does his talking in the ring. So we get a match between Jerry Lynn and Mike Sanders. Lynn is taking it hard to him, strikes and a bulldog from the corner for an early near fall. Sanders tries to fight back, gets thrown out of the ring, and a baseball slide sends him into the railing. Sanders eventually turns things around as he's getting punched in the corner, but Heavy D shows up and drops Lynn across the top rope. So after this, I'll be honest, watching Sanders perform his moves, I honestly think Desire and April were doing a better job.
Super sad.
Yeah, Sanders is, I don't know, he ain't a good wrestler. Sanders eventually puts Lynn into a headlock. So far, this may be his best move, and it's a rest hold. Lynn dodges a very lazy moonsault. He gets in some more explosive offense on Sanders. Does a crossbody for a pin, but Heavy Pete D pulls the ref out of the ring, knocks him out, leaving Lynn with no way to win right now. Sanders manages a move as a new ref comes out, Lynn barely kicking out. I don't even remember what the move was. It was terrible, whatever it was, I'm sure. I hope we never see Mike Sanders in another match after this. Lynn hits a sunset flip out of the corner, and Heavy D takes out another ref. Dusty Rhodes then comes out to take on Heavy D. Lynn hits a TKO as Rhodes puts a ref back in the ring to count the fall. Jerry Lynn getting the victory. So, good job, Jerry Lynn. Good job for winning despite Heavy D trying to kill the refs.
Attempted murder right there.
Well, not for 1 second do I believe Mike Sanders had Jerry Lynn in any dire straits on his own. You know?
He tried.
Sanders sucked. After the match, Rhodes gets the mic. We get some more history talk from Dusty. basically giving those in the back a choice between wrestling and a midget beating off on a trash can.
Which he mentions multiple times.
Yeah. Because apparently a midget beating off in the trash can is his summation of what Russo stands for. Russo is here now. Said he idolized Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes, but things have changed since then. After he got in the business. And then he's got two things he wanted to end up doing. One was shave Ric Flair's head, which apparently he did. The other one was he wanted to slap Dusty's gut so hard that he mocked the birthmark off him. Which I guess he's trying to do tonight. Rhodes challenges him, saying he can get his ass in the ring to do it now if he really wants. Russo offers an alternative. He says there's a 6-man tonight, and why not make it an 8-man, adding Dusty and Russo to the others, to the opposing sides. He also says that if they win, meaning Russo and Triple X, next week he gets to pick a challenger for every title belt. So this does end up happening. Rose is like, I'll run it by Bullet Bob, see if he says it's okay, but Bob Armstrong eventually comes out later and says yeah. So that's the stipulation for the main event tonight. 8-man with, if Russo wins, he gets to pick out the challengers for all the belts.
Yeah, I don't know what he had to lose.
Credibility.
He's not a wrestler, so what credibility is there?
Yeah, but it's the Road Warriors and Jarrett, who are all relatively considered old veterans, and Dusty Rhodes, who is extremely old veteran at this point, versus the 3 youngest, most exciting professional wrestlers that Sports Entertainment Extreme offers.
So it's the young people versus the old people. So sad.
The idea being that these 3 guys should be able to outperform the old people, but at the same time, the 3 of them lost to Jeff Jarrett the week prior, so I don't know. I don't know what's supposed to be. I don't know what sort of threat they're supposed to be here. I said they did it well, as kinda putting over how Jarrett won, but at the same time, it's like now things are even. I really don't see it working in their favor, but we'll get to that in a little bit. We had a Jason Cross versus David Young match. So just X Division randomness. Obviously, they're trying to highlight these two, since they gave Cross kind of an immediate push to getting a title match, and then we had that 10-man where Young performed very well. While he didn't win, he looked really good in the match. So I get the feeling they're trying to build these two right now, but we'll see how that goes. We get an opening trade of holds and reversals, so pretty standard opening for an X Division match. Young eventually moving out of the ring for Cross to do a spiral dive onto. Cross attempts a tornado DDT, but it gets thrown off back first to the edge of the ring. Young has control for a bit, hitting moves and going for falls. Another series of reversals, and Cross gains control again, using his agility. I note that this match feels weirdly slow. Feeling like there's way too much time between each of them doing anything. I don't know why. On the watch back, I didn't take note of that, but at the same time, it's I don't know. I was feeling differently when I watched this the first time. Anyways, this is when we get Bullet Bob and the announce table and make the announcement for the match at the end of the night. Cross goes for his Cross hits a senton out of the corner for a near fall. Then a neck breaker out of the corner. He attempts to hit the crossfire, which is the shooting star leg drop, but Young manages to dodge that at the last second. Young hits his spine buster and gets the win. So yay, David Young for his victory. Perpetual jobber that he will be in the near future. BG James comes out to confront Bob, and Scott gets between the two of them, being the brother and son, respectively. Then suddenly Conan arrives out of nowhere and starts beating up Young and Cross with a kendo stick.
Yeah, it was really.
He's not wearing the Sports Entertainment Extreme shirt or anything, and he gets escorted out by security. So we don't know what his deal is or why he's here. But yeah, just another random person we've never seen before showing up tonight. Never seen before in TNA. I know who Conan is, obviously.
I don't. Obviously.
He was in WCW. He was part of NWO there. He also had a really stupid gimmick in WWE where he was like in a mask and stuff. I don't remember. All right, next is an X Division Championship match. Sonny Siaki versus Kid Cash. Now a little setup for this. Apparently, originally Amazing Red was supposed to be the challenger for this match. But for whatever reason, Amazing Red could not show up tonight.
He was in.
Yeah, he couldn't get back from Japan or something.
Sorry, I had to think about where he was.
It's not like the time where Douglas Williams had his title stripped from him because there was a volcano that erupted and made it so that planes couldn't fly out of Europe. It happens. Wait for it. It's like 2013, but it happens. Anyways. So, instead, who was supposed to fill in for him was Jorge Estrada. But, because Jorge ran out like an idiot alone, I say like an idiot, but like let's just say he has machismo. But he ran out alone to attack Sports Entertainment Extreme to try to save Percy Pringle. He was now not in any condition for tonight. So we have a replacement for the replacement, that being Kid Cash. And not only that, but Cash gets to come out with an equalizer for Desire, and that equalizer is Trinity. I didn't know she was a face. Anyways. They both run in the ring together, and we get a little moment of mirrors where Siaki and Desire kick Cash and Trinity, but then they turn things around and do a drop kick and stereo, and, this knocks both the heels out of the ring. Anyways, finally it gets down to Cash with Siaki battling in the ring. Cash is in control with some arm drags. Saki gets out of the ring to try to make some, put a little distance between them. Cash tries to slide out, but Siaki catches him and then rips him out of the ring and drops him chest first onto the guardrail. Looked really nasty. After some chops, Cash reverses a whip into the railing and then does his signature chair, throwing a chair at Siaki's face. I've noticed that. Kid Cash just likes to throw chairs.
Well, I am going to say this.
He's done this multiple times.
I'm just going to say this.
Go for it.
Sunglasses really likes hitting people with chairs, so I feel like this is a good one.
It's just something Kid Cash has been doing since like his first appearance. He'll pick up a chair and throw it like flat side at your face. We move back to the ring. I don't know what I wrote here. This makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. Eventually, Siaki uses his power to regain control, but not for long. Cash is hitting big moves, not putting Siaki away. Even with the equalizer, Desire eventually costs Cash the match, and Trinity is just standing on the other side watching. But Desire pulls Cash off a pin. Then Cash is tripped by her, making him fall into the Siacalypse for the victory. As I said, Trinity seemed very ineffective as the equalizer after the first little opening bit. She's just watching from the other side of the ring. But she doesn't even try running around to see if she could stop her after she has interfered, to stop Desire if she's interfered multiple times. Just it was a waste of a setup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she goes after Siaki and Desire after the match. and she manages to get one over on Desire, leaving the heels to retreat. Again, she was ineffective during the match, but before and after, she was fine. I don't get it. Anyways. I don't know. I didn't like that. Like, everything with Siaki and Cash, for the most part, was fine, but, like, everything surrounding it was stupid.
Yeah.
I think part of it is I feel like I've had this show in my head for weeks now, and I want to move on past it, but we had never recorded until now. So like I'm not excited for this show, but I'm excited for the next show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can understand.
All right, finale, 8-man tag, Sports Entertainment Extreme versus the Road Warriors, Jeff Jarrett and Dusty Rhodes. Russo comes out in a hockey helmet and pads, and he looks really stupid. The helmet doesn't even fit his head properly. Rhodes taunts Russo over the hockey gear. Then Jarrett gets outsmarted, the standoff putting him in the enemy corner and getting jumped by Daniels. Oh yeah, the members of the members of the other team are Triple X. We have Christopher Daniels, Low Key, and Felix Skipper. Anyways, they start to trade counters until Jeff takes control with a clothesline and back body drop. Daniels gets trapped, getting shots from Jarrett and his teammates before getting out and tagging Low Key. Animal comes into face off against Low Key. Animal overpowers the little guy. Low Key's submission attempts ineffective against the Road Warrior. He even tries to fly, but gets caught and thrown into a power bomb. Daniels needs to distract the ref for Skipper to jump Animal. They have a double team on him to hold control, but barely. Animal then eventually does a double suplex on both of them, returning control to his team. So he's overpowering these X Division guys and making them look weak. Now we get Hawk and Skipper facing off. Hawk is sloppy, very sloppy in the ring. He hits a big boot and falls flat on his ass, and then he hits a drop kick that looked very, very hard for him to do. Skipper finally gains control after Jarrett tags in, laying Jarrett on the ropes to let Russo get in some cheap shots. Then dodges Skipper in the ropes, but loses focus, going after Russo, allowing all of Triple X to attack Jarrett. The heels continue to keep Jarrett isolated in their corner for a while, using distractions to get in cheap shots and choke Jarrett out with Russo's towel. Low Key decides to put on a front face lock on Jarrett, which Jarrett does manage to fight out of and then get a tag. But this tag apparently wasn't seen by the ref, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, I don't know when they started doing that because, like, 90% of the shows have been, like, no one's seeing fucking tags, and now they're like, oh.
Sound like me. I've been complaining about this lately.
I know. Probably where I heard it from, but, like, it's just like, oh, okay.
After a tag, Skipper takes over Low Key's duty on the front face lock. This time, Jarrett fights out again, but misses a drop kick. The Road Warriors get frustrated at this, and this costs Jarrett the win by getting him rolled up and oh no, I know. Jarrett got a roll up, but the frustration from the Road Warriors distracted the ref, so he did not get a count on his roll up. Daniels lifts Jarrett, letting Low Key hit a springboard kick high in the air, and then Daniels drops him and puts him into a Boston Crab. Daniels gets fought off in the corner. There are a few reversals. There's a double down. Dusty gets tagged in for the first time. Elbows all three of Triple X, and he calls in Russo as LOD dumps out Daniels and Low Key. As Russo gets in, Mr. Wrestling 4 appears and attacks Rhodes from behind with a chair. And a wrap. Whatever. But he attacks Russo and attacks. Mr. Wrestling 4 attacks Rhodes and lets Russo get the pin and the victory. And then, right at the end, Mr. Wrestling 4 takes off the mask, and it's Nikita Koloff, who I don't actually really know myself.
Neither do I.
I know of him, but I've never watched him perform, so it's not that big a reveal for me. It's not like with Larry Zbyszko, where I at least have seen him be one of the Stooges alongside Pat Patterson in WWE for a while, you know?
Yeah.
Either way, that was the show. I feel like we were not. I feel like we were both sour on this. So, what? Feast or fired?
Fired.
Fired for me too. That's all that needs to be said. All right. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully the next one will be much, much better.
And on time.
Yeah.
Ish.
Well, we'll be running late for now until we get a chance to catch up.
Sorry.
Take care and keep on wrestling.
Have a good night.